Are you looking to find a way to stand out in a crowded market or launch a new product in a category where there are a lot of competitors? If so, then you are definitely going to want to keep watching. Hello, my name is Emma Sherber-Tamir. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Marketing by Emma, and today we're going to talk about the power of differentiation and strategic positioning when it comes to your e-commerce business. Now, these are really critical pieces of any business strategy, but today specifically, we're going to be talking about how you can think about this through the lens of e-commerce, and we're going to be using two. I always want to do whenever I'm talking about numbers, I want to do that, and then it's 4. We're going to be talking about 2 brands that are selling nearly identical things. Oh, my camera's doing something weird. Little did I know that holding up the number 2 would make my very smart camera think that I wanted to go into whiteboard mode. We're going to be talking about 2 brands that are using positioning and differentiation very strategically to be selling virtually the same thing to totally different segments of customers and building thriving businesses as a result. Those 2 businesses are Vuori, might not be pronouncing that correctly, and Girlfriend Collective. So both of these brands are activewear brands that are selling products made from post-consumer recycled plastic. Things like leggings and shirts, and now they've expanded into other materials beyond that. But at the beginning, that was sort of their pride and joy, was a really sustainably minded business that was selling activewear to a younger generation. But these 2 businesses look and feel totally different. When you go to the Vuori's website, it's very California cool. They are very kind of like quiet tones and very Silicon Valley-esque. They're athletic, but they're simple at their heart. Whereas Girlfriend Collective, if you go to their website, you can see that they're really about inclusivity, about expanding the concept of what it means to be beautiful and to feel good in your skin. They also have a wider variety of colors and more quirky designs and styles. And so you can see that the raw materials are the same, but the way that they have positioned their brands and thought about their customers is totally different. So how can we apply these same principles to your own business? Well, there are 3 steps to take to make sure that you are figuring out a good positioning strategy in order to put your brand as the choice for your customers. And the first thing that you need to do is you need to get to know your customers. You need to understand who is it that you're selling to, and not just understanding who you're selling to, but being very clear about the specific segment that you're talking to, and also in relationship to that, who you are not talking to. Emma, what are you saying? Not talking to, but don't I want to sell to as many people as possible? Absolutely not. That might be an end goal, something that we can get to down the road. But if you want to do this well, you need to be clear about who your target customer is. And if you're talking in a way that's going to be really meaningful and compelling to them, then as a result of that, you're also going to be excluding certain people from the equation. And that is okay. So get comfortable with that idea, embrace it, understand it, and recognize that it can actually be a really powerful tool that you can use not only in this phase, but really in all of your different marketing efforts moving forward. So how do you get to know your customers, especially if you maybe don't even have customers yet? Can't just go imagine them. Well, you kind of can, but also there are some good strategies to finding them and seeing how they talk and seeing where they hang out. Things like social media are great portals into the minds of your customers. So go find some TikTok accounts, go find some YouTube channels, go find some Instagram pages, and start to understand, how are people talking about your product? What other things do they care about? What are the types of ways that they're using language and communicating with each other and thinking about and afraid of, and get a really clear idea of who your customers are. You can go to Reddit and Quora You can go to all of these different places where people are congregating online, and you can even find different places where people are congregating offline if you want to be able to actually go interface directly with people and ask them questions. So finding local meetups or Eventbrite happenings, even trade shows or other types of masterminds where you might be able to get face time with people that you ideally want to be selling to. Also, even if you don't have customers, your competitors have customers. So look at what customers are saying about your competitors and see how you can actually use their feedback, use the reviews for the competitors to fuel your efforts and identify some things that you can take advantage of. So find those things that maybe people are complaining about the product and see if there's a way of being able to fix that with your product. Or perhaps there are people that are talking about these other uses or ways of thinking about this product that the competitor is not addressing. Really looking for those gaps and those opportunities, even if you are not modifying the product at all, simply finding spaces where your competitors are ignoring something, even if it's just in conversation and how they're presenting your product, that gives you an opportunity to be able to come in and to dominate that part of the conversation. So I actually just got done reading a pretty interesting old book. Look how old it is. Looks pretty dated, and I realize it's showing up backwards, but it's called Positioning. This book was originally published in 1981. It's by Alan Reese and Jack Trout, and it's really talking about how important it is to figure out this positioning piece. And part of that is not so much thinking about your product in a vacuum and just saying, okay, I want to sell this to people, but understanding what customers already have in their minds and how you can enter into that conversation and then give them a point of choice so that they want to choose your product over the other options that they had previously. So this is a really important step. If you can't figure out this first step, then these other steps really won't matter. So once you have a clear understanding of your customers, you need to do step 2, which is you need to study your competitors. So we were talking a little bit of that with the reviews, but now this is going a step further, looking at their websites, looking at their social media pages, really going as deep as you can to understand who are they talking to and who are they excluding. And it's possible that the people that they're excluding can be your target customers. So if you're trying to go after the exact same customers, the exact same demographic, the exact same community as a really big competitor, it's going to be very difficult to be able to unseat them and to rise above their performance. They've already established themselves as the leaders and the go-to in that niche. It's going to be very tricky for you to just come in and overpower them unless you have a lot of money, unless you have a new innovation, unless you have something really significant that's going to give people a reason to choose you over the choice that is currently existing on the market. So really looking for those nooks and crannies to think about, okay, how can I expand a category? How can I create a new segment here? So if you're going back to the example of Vuori and Girlfriend Collective, that's what they've really done so well. So Girlfriend Collective isn't just selling athleisure made from recycled materials. They are selling athleisure that is good for the planet and good for humanity, with really making body positivity a core central part of their value system, which looks so different from almost any athleisure brand on the market. Vuori took a totally different approach. They decided, okay, we're going to go after the minimalist tech person who is wanting to be understated, that's maybe even emulating that Steve Jobs uniform that wants a lot of basic colors and doesn't necessarily want to be flashy or over the top, values comfort, is probably traveling and moving a lot, still lives an active lifestyle. And so they've created a whole different target customer that also really wasn't being addressed. And Vuori is fascinating. They've actually recently launched a pretty aggressive retail strategy, opening up retail shops all over the country and finding a lot of success after being totally online for the first years in business. So understanding your competitors and understanding how you fit into the conversation is massive. And then step 3 is getting really clear about who you are and who you want to be. So what are your values? What are those things that you're going to connect with your customers around? So be it body positivity and inclusivity, be it sustainability for the tech entrepreneur, be it the yogi mother like Lululemon. We have a lot of these clear ideas of who the customers are, but it's reflected through who the brand is. And that is key when really trying to create a conversation. A conversation isn't just a one-way street. So you understand who your customers are. You need to understand who you are. And that's where you're able to really create a meaningful dialogue for growth and for really creating that brand loyalty, that fandom that people are wanting to tell other people about. So this is not simple. This takes a lot of work, and recognize that this is also something that is going to evolve and change over time. And it can evolve and change because your category is evolving and changing, or it could evolve and change because you evolve and change, or your customers evolve and change. So don't look at this as something static. Don't look at this as an exercise that you do once at the beginning of your business and then you never touch again. No matter what stage you're in, this exercise can be really significant in figuring out how you can not only stay competitive today, but be even more competitive and even more of a threat to everyone else in your category tomorrow. So let me know what you think. What are some of your favorite brands that have really figured out this differentiation and strategic positioning piece? Drop it in the comments below. Give this a like and a subscribe if you liked. I would love for you to stay on this journey with me. I'm going to be talking not just about Amazon, but about branding, marketing, entrepreneurship. I have a lot of interests, so I want to talk about a lot of different things. I'd love to hear what you'd like me to talk about next. And until then, thank you so much for watching. Bye.